The race to build AI humanoid autonomous robots is absolutely wild. There are so many companies working on this, and progress is happening so fast. Maybe you've heard of the Tesla Optimus or Boston Dynamics, but did you know that there are actually tons of other companies working on the same thing, such as AGIbot, 1X Eve, Rainbow Robotics, and more. Some are insanely fast, as you can see here, while others are super smooth and are already in production. So today we're going to talk about all the contenders, all the companies in this AI humanoid robot race. This will be quite a long video as there are so many companies doing this, many of which are under the radar. So let's jump right in. Let's start with Tesla. Now we all know Tesla from their electric cars, but they're actually doing a lot more than just cars. In 2022, Tesla unveiled a prototype of its humanoid robot called Optimus. Their goal was to create a general-purpose autonomous robot that can perform various tasks. Now, the Tesla Optimus is, in my opinion, the nicest-looking humanoid robot out there, with a sleek, minimalist, polished design. And from the way it moves, as you can see here, it looks disturbingly human. It can dance, work out, and do yoga. It's important to note that not a lot of robots can balance on one leg, so this is actually a very impressive feat. The Tesla Optimus is 5'8", it weighs 57 kilos, and can carry up to 45 pounds or 20 kilos. Optimus uses the same powerful AI hardware and software that their self-driving cars use, and this allows it to leverage Tesla's advanced real-world AI for perception and decision-making. And here's where Tesla has a huge advantage over other humanoid robot companies. In order to train a robot properly, you need data. Lots and lots of data. And which company has the most real-world data? Arguably, it's Tesla. They have millions and millions of Tesla cars driving around the world. Each of them are equipped with cameras that record everything. So imagine how much real-world data they're collecting every minute, every second. This data is not only used to train their self-driving cars, but it can also be used to train the Tesla Optimus. Now, Optimus has sensors like cameras and LiDAR to perceive and map its environment, similar to Tesla's self-driving sensors. And with this, it can identify objects, sense surfaces and materials, and understand how to handle different objects. It learns from human demonstration via teleoperation, as you can see here, and also virtual simulations. So you can see the human here is demonstrating a particular action, and then this action is translated into movement in a simulated environment. So this is a virtual environment. It's basically a clone of the real world. It's called a digital twin, so it has all the physics of the real world, and this is where the robot can undergo millions of rounds of training. They do this in a simulation because it would take way too much time and effort to train this in the real world. But in a simulation, you can train it on millions of iterations at a much lower cost. As long as this simulated world gets the physics of the real world correctly, then in theory, this robot should be able to do this newly learned skill in the real world as well. So think of this teleoperation and then training this in a virtual environment. Think of this as like a monkey see, monkey do approach. Now the Optimus has 28 structural actuators that allow it to move flexibly and do various tasks. The legs are designed to provide explosive power for jumping, but also allowing delicate motions. Each hand has 11 degrees of freedom, along with metallic tendons for strength and flexibility. Its fingers have tactile sensing, so this allows it to handle heavy objects as well as delicate items such as eggs without breaking them. It can perform various tasks like picking up boxes, watering plants, and working at a factory station. So here's their most recent video showing the Tesla Optimus sorting batteries. So as you can see, it's intended for a wide range of applications, from assisting in manufacturing to doing things around your home. Eventually, they plan for it to be able to perform any task a human can, just from speaking to it. But this is currently not a feature yet, so I haven't seen a demo where the person gives the Optimus a voice command and it can respond back. The robot is still in development and testing and is not yet deployed commercially. So that's it for the Tesla Optimus. Like I said, I really love the design. It's really sleek and minimalist, and it looks really human. But that's all we know so far. This hasn't been battle tested in the real world yet. They're still developing this. Alright, next up we have UBTech. They are a Chinese company that develops humanoid robots as well as consumer robotics. They were founded in 2012, so this is one of the older Chinese robotics companies, and they're headquartered in Shenzhen, which is like the Silicon Valley of China. And in terms of humanoid robots, they're currently working on one called Walker. Walker is designed to operate in households, offices, and factories. As you can see, it's fully autonomous and it can do many different tasks. It has a full range of senses, including vision, hearing, force feedback, and spatial awareness. All of these senses coordinate together for navigation and precise object handling. It can walk on many types of terrain and autonomously avoid obstacles. It can go upstairs, push carts, imitate human motions, and even do Tai Chi, as well as yoga. As with other competitor robots, such as the Tesla Optimus, Walker can balance on one leg. This is actually quite difficult to achieve, and not a lot of other robots can balance on one leg, so it's very impressive that they were able to pull this off. Here's a demo of it folding clothes. You can see, first of all, that it's integrated with an LLM. So this robot has an LLM built in called ErnieBot, and this is a large language model which is built by Baidu, one of the tech giants in China. This is kind of equivalent to GPT in America. So with this LLM built in its brain, it can understand commands such as this: Walker, I have a business trip tomorrow. Can you help me fold the clothing item in your hands? And it can respond with of course and then carry the action out. This robot also has microphones, so it can understand verbal instructions from a human. This is different from the Tesla Optimus, which as far as we know, does not have this capability yet. And so here's the demo of it folding clothes. And it's safe to say this is actually a bit faster and smoother than the Tesla Optimus at folding a shirt. So here's a side-by-side comparison of both these robots. It seems that this Walker robot is just a tad bit faster.
Walker, 衣服叠好了吗？
叠好了。
Walker， 你觉得这件黑色衣服搭配什么颜色的裤子更好看呢？
搭配深色系的裤子比较适合正式场合。
Walker， 请帮我把桌上的开关按种类放在不同的盘子里。
好的。
So you can see here it understands verbal commands. It also has semantic reasoning and understanding, so you could talk to it just like you would a regular chatbot. Here you can see it is able to understand and follow the person's instructions and sort these objects into the appropriate trays. Now, its movements are a tad bit slower than some of the other robots, which I'll show you afterwards. But nevertheless, this is very impressive. And you can see here the human is moving the object somewhere else. So no, this is not a pre-programmed action. It uses its AI vision to detect the object and handle it appropriately. And again, you can see here the human is moving the object again. And through AI vision and object detection, it's able to handle this.
那 Walker， 你如何确保分拣结果的准确性和效率呢？
在分拣过程中，通过百度智能云千帆大模型平台调用文心一言进行子任务拆解和推理，配合视觉语言模型，保证异常检测精度，并实现泛化抓取，确保任务在干扰的情况下顺利实施。
So you can see here it's asking how do you ensure the accuracy and efficiency, and it's saying that, well, it uses this ErnieBot LLM from Baidu in its brain to reason and understand instructions and break down those instructions into separate tasks to do them sequentially. So you can see from that demonstration, it's already a tad bit ahead of the Tesla Optimus. And then here you can see that Walker robots have already been deployed in industrial settings, such as NIO's electric vehicle production line, where it automates repetitive tasks. This is one of the few autonomous humanoid robots that are actually deployed in the real world already. Other companies like Tesla or the Figure One or Sanctuary, they've only released demo videos, but they have not been battle tested in the real world. So props to UBTech for creating a robot that's already being used in this EV factory. And besides industrial purposes, they also aim to eventually deploy Walker in home and office settings. So that's all we know about the Walker robot for now. Next up, we have Sanctuary AI, which is a Canadian robotics company. Their general purpose robot is called Phoenix, and like other autonomous robots, it can learn new tasks and do them without human supervision. So as you can see here, they claim that the Phoenix's hands have similar dexterity compared to humans, so it can handle different objects with precision. As you can see, it can pick up this super thin card just fine. And here you can see it making a turkey sandwich. Now, Phoenix is powered by Sanctuary's Carbon AI control system, which is just a fancy marketing name to be honest. Basically, this mimics functions such as memory, sight, sound, and touch to translate instructions into real-world actions. You can see it's quite slow at making this sandwich. It's really slow actually. So let me fast forward this a bit. Alright, it took the robot over a minute just to break the bread in half, and so this is not really an impressive demonstration to be honest. It's just really slow. I'm just gonna fast forward a bit here. Looks like it has trouble picking up the cheese. Again, this is just not a very impressive demonstration compared to the other robots. And you can see the human needs to help it. And it's already taken 3 minutes trying to get this right. So I'm just going to speed this up a bit more because this is really slow. All right, you can see like parts of the video, it does require human supervision, so it's not perfect. And overall, it took almost 10 minutes making this sandwich. And for a lot of the steps, it requires human supervision. So this demo shows that it's quite inefficient, to be honest. Now, the Phoenix can be teleoperated. In other words, it can be controlled by a human wearing this VR headset. And so the human sees what the robot sees, and his actions are basically cloned to the robot in real time. And teleoperation is a very common way for humans to train robots. You see this in a lot of other robot companies. So for example, Tesla also uses teleoperation to train its Optimus robots. And here is their latest release of Phoenix version 7. And as you can see here, it's capable of doing things autonomously without human supervision. So here you can see that it's handling these small objects, it's sorting them into the appropriate trays, all autonomously. It's interesting to note that all the video demonstrations of the Phoenix mostly showcase it sorting objects on a table. We don't really see the lower half of its body. Now they do claim that the Phoenix is bipedal, in other words it has 2 legs, but we haven't seen any demonstration of this. So compared to other robot companies, it seems like the Phoenix could be behind in terms of walking and navigation. Sanctuary also mentioned that they have deployed Phoenix at a retail store and have reported that it can do many tasks there such as packing inventory, cleaning, labeling, and folding. However, again, we haven't seen any demo videos of this, nor have there been other reports of Phoenix being deployed elsewhere. So this article seems more like a PR stunt to me, to be honest. It's also strangely titled, Sanctuary AI deploys first humanoid general purpose robot commercially, which I don't think it's true. And whenever you see a robot company claiming that they're the first to do something, take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, that sums up Sanctuary AI and their Phoenix robot. Let's move on to the next company. Alright, next robot company is called 1X. This is a Norwegian robotics company that is backed by OpenAI. In 2023, 1X deployed what is claimed to be the first AI humanoid robot in the workforce. Again, another company claiming that they are the first to deploy a robot in the workforce, so take it with a grain of salt. Now, as you can see, the one noticeable thing about Eve is it has a smiley face, whereas all the previous robots that I've showed you, they don't really have a face. Eve is capable of opening doors and windows and fetching objects and performing other tasks. It uses cameras and advanced monitoring systems to move around. And apparently, it can also make gingerbread cookies. As you can see here, Eve uses wheels to self-balance and drive around, so it's not exactly bipedal. In other words, it doesn't have 2 legs like the other robots that we'll talk about today. However, it can still autonomously navigate buildings, open doors, take elevators, and operate keypads with no human intervention. However, it probably can't walk up stairs or slopes just because it has a wheeled base. Now, Eve has high-resolution cameras, which are essentially its eyes, and it gives it panoramic vision. Plus, it has various sensors to help it perceive the environment and handle objects. On the note of handling objects, each arm has 7 degrees of freedom with a gripper hand. So instead of 5 fingers, it has just a claw like a crab. It can move heavy boxes as well as handle fragile items with precision. And Eve can do all sorts of tasks like sorting mail, handling objects, tidying up spaces, and interacting with humans. Now, of course, AI plays a major role in how this robot functions. It uses AI vision that analyzes inputs from its cameras to control its actions. Now, while Eve can work autonomously without the guidance of humans, it can also be teleoperated by a human if necessary, as you can see here. So basically, again, we have this human wearing a VR headset which sees exactly what the robot sees, and then his actions are duplicated to the robot. So that's all we know about 1X and the robot Eve for now. Moving on to the next company, how could we not talk about Boston Dynamics? Founded in 1992, this was actually a spin-off from MIT, and they are the oldest contender in this AI robotics race. They were previously owned by Google and SoftBank, but in 2021, they were acquired by Hyundai Motor Group. It's also interesting to note that they have received a lot of funding from the US military and the US Defense Agency, also known as DARPA. Now, Spot is their first commercially available robot launched in 2019, and it's used for industrial inspection and data collection. While this is not a humanoid robot, in other words, it doesn't look like a human, it doesn't have 2 legs, it's still worth a mention because this is still an autonomous AI robot. Spot is a 4-legged robot designed to move across different terrains. For example, it can walk, trot, climb stairs, open doors, and of course dance. It navigates obstacles autonomously using sensors and cameras for perception. Specifically, Spot has 360-degree vision, plus it uses an algorithm called SLAM, which stands for Simultaneous Localization and Mapping, and this, in addition to some other sensing capabilities, allows Spot to autonomously navigate difficult terrain and avoid obstacles. It can carry payloads of up to 14 kilograms and can be equipped with additional sensors or robotic arms, as you can see here. And what's impressive is that Spot can work in challenging temperatures from -20 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. Spot can be remotely controlled by a human operator while also performing some autonomous navigation and tasks. It can self-charge, replan paths around new obstacles, and get back up if it falls over. I love that it has this self-charging capability. In other words, it can sense that it has low battery and then it would automatically walk to its charging station and charge itself. I wish my phone or my wireless earbuds could do that as well. Now, Spot is mainly designed for sensing and inspection and remote operation in various industries. So for example, companies have used Spot for monitoring construction sites, inspecting oil and gas facilities, and more. So it's already deployed in the real world. Each one is sold for $75,000, which is way more expensive than the Chinese robots, which I'll talk about in a second. However, $75,000 is still not bad if this can work 24/7 and do a lot of repetitive things for you. The company plans to manufacture thousands of Spot robots per year for commercial deployment. But that's enough about Spot. Let's move on to their humanoid robot, which is called Atlas. Atlas is their advanced bipedal robot initially designed for search and rescue. It needed to be able to navigate through rough terrain, climb, use tools, and do all sorts of things. Atlas has 28 degrees of freedom in its limbs, providing lots of dexterity and flexibility. It uses tons of advanced sensors like stereo cameras, laser rangefinders, and depth sensors for perception and understanding its environment. It combines cutting-edge hardware like compact hydraulics and batteries for advanced movements. And from this, it can do crazy things like handstands, somersaults, parkour routines, and even choreographed dancing. And such videos have gotten them quite a lot of fame on YouTube. Now, using its perception systems, Atlas can identify objects, it can plan paths and do complex things like operating tools, opening doors, and cleaning debris. Now, while it does have autonomous capabilities, this earlier version of Atlas does not have natural language abilities. In other words, you can't talk to it and instruct it to do stuff like you would with some of the other robots. In other words, I believe this older version of Atlas does not have an LLM such as GPT built in. So the original Atlas had to be controlled by an off-board computer system. Recently, the company unveiled the next generation of Atlas, which looks like this. It looks very different, it looks less bulky, and its face actually reminds me of those makeup mirrors. Is that even what you call it? Let me do a quick Google. This is what I'm talking about. So let me know in the comments if you agree. I think that the face of this new Atlas looks like one of these makeup mirrors. So unlike the previous generation, which had hydraulics, this one is fully electric, and I believe you can talk to it and give it instructions, so there is an LLM built into this. They just unveiled this recently, so this is the only video we have of it, and unfortunately there's not much info on this new generation. However, you can see that it does have a much sleeker and more human design, although the way that it gets up like this is slightly disturbing. Now, although the previous generation of Atlas seems pretty cool and it can dance and do parkour and do backflips and all sorts of acrobatic stuff, this new generation with this makeup mirror also looks pretty cool and it seems very flexible. Thanks to our sponsor, Abacus AI. Their platform ChatLLM is an awesome way to use different LLMs all in one place. This includes the newest GPT-4o, Meta's Llama 3, Anthropic's Claude Opus, and more. Not only can you chat with it like a regular chatbot, but you can also upload PDF documents and have the AI analyze them. Simply ask questions about the content and get detailed, accurate responses. You can also create custom AI agents designed to perform specific tasks, whether it's automating customer support, generating reports, or any other function. Your custom AI agent will handle it with precision. And collaboration is made easy with ChatLLM. You can invite team members to join the same chat thread, ensuring everyone is on the same page and can contribute to the chat. Moreover, ChatLLM integrates seamlessly with various enterprise platforms such as Slack, Teams, and more, so you can incorporate AI into your existing workflows without any hassle. Experience the power and versatility of ChatLLM by Abacus AI today. Try it for free via the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Now the Atlas is not deployed commercially yet, so we only have this demo video of it. It has not been battle tested in the real world. But Boston Dynamics does have a long history, and like I said, this is the oldest contender in this AI robot race. Plus their four-legged robot Spot has been successfully deployed in the real world already. But anyways, that is all we know of Boston Dynamics and Atlas right now. Next up, we have Figure AI. This is one of the newer competitors in this AI robot race. They are developing a general-purpose humanoid robot called Figure 01. In fact, I previously did a video on the founder, Brett Adcock. So if you're interested in learning more, check this video out. Now, Figure has received funding from various investors including OpenAI, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Samsung. In fact, Figure is working with OpenAI to create the Figure 1 robot. OpenAI will provide the language models necessary for the robot to understand visual and spoken information and reason about it. Now, the Figure 01 is designed with a human form factor to do a wide range of tasks in manufacturing, logistics, and warehousing. Earlier this year, they shared videos showing Figure 01 making coffee and moving bins onto a conveyor belt. However, this video did receive some criticism. Some people were saying that this is like the easiest coffee maker for a robot. You literally just put the capsule in and then press a button, so it's not a very challenging action. Anyways, the Figure robot is 5'6" and weighs 60 kilograms and is equipped with sensors like LiDAR and tactile sensors to perceive its environment. Plus, it has cameras which act as its eyes and microphones which act as its ears. It has over 40 degrees of freedom and uses custom actuators to move its limbs and body. Plus, it has a battery pack which currently lasts for 5 hours. This is in contrast to other competitor robots which might need to be wired. Most recently, they've released this demo.
Hey Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
Note how it lightly bumps the rack after it's done here. Also note the slight stutter when it was talking.
I think I did pretty well.
Now, these two actions are very subtle, but it didn't have to do it, right? It could just answer his question directly without adding the stutter, and it didn't have to bump the dish rack further. But indeed, that's what it did. So this might seem like it's acting on its own free will, and it seems just disturbingly human. It makes you rethink if this is a robot or if there's something else to this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Figure collaborated with OpenAI to integrate their AI models into the robot's brain. We're not sure if this is GPT or some other custom model, but in any case, it uses this AI model to understand what it sees, as well as understand spoken commands from humans. It's able to take this vision and speech input, and through reasoning, it's able to respond back to humans, as well as do tasks autonomously in real time. This is exactly how other competitor robots work too, such as UBTech's Walker. But instead of using GPT, Walker is using Baidu's AI model. Anyways, through reinforcement learning, the Figure 1 robot can learn new skills and adapt to different environments. Now, the Figure 1 is not yet deployed or commercially available. I believe it's still in development and testing. However, they've announced plans to deploy these robots at a BMW manufacturing plant. But there's no sign that this has actually happened yet. So that's all we know about Figure and their Figure 1 robot for now. Alright, next up we have Unitree. This is a Chinese robot company that was founded in 2016. They initially focused on developing four-legged robots such as this Unitree B2. In 2024, they unveiled the H1 humanoid robot, which got a lot of attention. The H1 is around 1.8 meters tall and weighs approximately 47 kilos. It can walk and run at incredible speeds, as you can see here. I think this is the world's fastest walking and running robot so far. Plus, it can easily navigate through different terrains. Even if you push or kick it, it stays upright and balanced. Now, it's really not a wise idea to kick and push a robot, and even less wise to post this video on YouTube because, well, AI is trained on data from the internet. So, when we eventually have a robot uprising, this guy who keeps abusing this poor robot is probably going to be on their list. Anyways, it can do advanced acrobatic skills like backflipping, which is learned using reinforcement learning in simulated environments, as you can see here. This humanoid robot is the first to backflip with electric motors. Now, the Boston Dynamics Atlas can also do a backflip, but that was with hydraulic motors. So the H1 is the first fully electric robot to do a backflip. So this demonstration is technically very impressive. Very recently, they've also unveiled a cheaper version, the Unitree G1. You can see it's super flexible. It can do a wide range of tasks, such as smashing this walnut, or chopping off the cap of this Coke bottle. Even though it kind of spilled the Coke everywhere, just the sheer speed of this chop is already very impressive. As you've seen with the other robots that I've showcased so far, their movements are very slow. So it seems like this Unitree G1 can just move incredibly fast. And you can see it can also curl up into a ball for easy transportation. The most impressive thing about the Unitree G1 is that it's priced from only $16,000 USD, which is cheaper than your average car. Now, this was the only video that is released of the G1 so far, so we're not fully aware of all its capabilities, but I mean, this is super affordable for like mid-class people already, at least in Western countries. So I would predict that by the end of year, we could have a lot of these robots running around everywhere and automating tasks for us. So the G1 is priced from $16,000, whereas their higher-end model, the H1, I believe they mentioned that it would be priced under $90,000 USD. So that's it for Unitree. If you're interested in learning more about the G1, I did a full video on this robot, so check out this video. Alright, next we have AGIbot, which is another Chinese company. This one is really young, and it was only established in February of 2023. It's led by Zhu Huijun, who is a popular tech influencer and also known as the quote-unquote genius youth at Huawei. So he left Huawei to start AGIbot. And what's really impressive is that in just the short span of 6 months, they've already unveiled the RAISE-A1 humanoid robot. So this RAISE-A1 is around 1.7 meters tall and weighs 53 kilos and can carry up to 20 kilograms. It has 49 degrees of freedom, including a dexterous robotic hand with built-in vision sensors. That means the tip of each finger seemingly has vision capabilities. It uses a large language model called WorkGPT for natural language interaction and reasoning. Now, it's not clear if this is their own proprietary large language model or if they've borrowed something from Baidu or even OpenAI's GPT. But in any case, this is a large language model that's used for reasoning and understanding language. So as with most of the other humanoid robots, this is basically the brain of the robot. And this is multimodal, so it can understand language and audio and vision and carry out appropriate tasks. Another interesting feature is that it has a reverse knee, kind of like an ostrich. This makes it super fast, and I assume it allows it to jump really easily. Plus, it has a built-in liquid cooling system so that it can operate for long periods of time with a single charge. Other than that, that's pretty much all we know about the RAISE-1 for now. As with many of these other robot companies, they've only released a few demo videos of the robot, but this is not deployed commercially yet. They plan to deploy this in factories, warehouses, research labs, care centers, and even regular households. But right now, they're still in the development and testing phase. Alright, we have yet another Chinese robotics company. This one is called Fourier Intelligence, and this is relatively older. So it was founded in 2015, and they are headquartered in Shanghai. They have expertise in areas like actuation, perception, and rehab robots. For example, they provide rehab robots and solutions to over 2,000 clients across over 40 countries. However, the star of today's video isn't their specialized robots, but their general-purpose humanoid robot called the GR1. This was launched in mid-2023. It stands at 1.65 meters tall and weighs 55 kilos. It has a flexible body with up to 54 degrees of freedom, which is a lot more flexible than some of the other robots I just mentioned. It's capable of human-like motions like, of course, walking, turning, grasping, running, and jumping. And like many of its competitors, it's equipped with depth cameras and AI vision algorithms to handle objects and avoid obstacles. Similar to the Figure 01 or the UBTech Walker, GR1 integrates a large language model allowing it to understand instructions and reason. It can walk as quickly as a human can and carry up to an impressive 50 kilograms, which is nearly as much as its own weight. The coolest thing is, it has fleet management software. That means you can control and coordinate multiple GR1 robots at once, as you can see here. Imagine controlling an entire army of these robots. They aim to mass produce these GR1 robots for healthcare, rehab, manufacturing, and logistics in the coming years. But as of now, the robot is still in development and there's no set timeline on when these will be deployed in the real world. So that's all we know about Fourier Intelligence and their GR1 humanoid robot for now. Next, we have Rainbow Robotics, which is a South Korean robotics company. It was founded by a group of experienced researchers from the KAIST Humanoid Robot Research Center. One of their main product lines is this RB series, which is a self-produced robot family that's actively used in manufacturing. Now, much like Boston Dynamics and Unitree, Rainbow Robotics has developed four-legged robots as well, as you can see here. Plus, they've won this DARPA Robotics Challenge with their disaster rescue robot. So you can see here, it is Team KAIST of Korea that took first place and the $2 million prize money. In April of 2024, they unveiled the RB-Y1. This is Korea's first quote-unquote mobile manipulator robot, combining a dual-arm system with a wheeled base. So it doesn't have two legs, it has a wheeled base. This is similar to 1X's Eve, which also has a wheeled base instead of legs. It has 22 axes of movement, excluding the wheels, and can be trained via teleoperation, as you can see here. So the human is training it on how to stack cups. And then after this demonstration is saved in its memory, it will know how to stack cups autonomously, even if the cups are in different positions. As you can see here, they've also built a simulation environment for training the RBY1 using reinforcement learning. And again, the reason why they're using a virtual environment is because you can train it on millions of iterations at a much lower cost than if you were to do this physically. So you can see after training it in the virtual environment and after guiding it via teleoperation, now the robot is able to autonomously stack cups. Now remember this demo because in a second I'm going to show you another cup stacking demo from a much faster robot, which really blew my mind. So stay tuned for that. But you can see right now it's just autonomously trying to stack the cups, regardless of the cup's position. So using AI vision via the cameras at the top of its head, it's able to detect and accurately grasp the cups and stack them on top of each other. But note that it's really slow compared to the next cup stacking demo I'm going to show you anytime now. And not only can it stack cups or help with stocking inventory, but the RBY1 is also designed for other complex tasks across different environments, such as cleaning, sweeping things away, putting things in the correct locations, etc. So you can see this is not only great for like logistics and manufacturing and factories, but this can also be a very effective household robot. And again, notice the two cameras at the top of its head. It likely has some AI vision capabilities built in for it to detect and handle objects. However, what this algorithm is or what large language model they're using is not revealed. So we don't really know much about the AI capabilities of this robot, at least at the time of this recording. But anyways, this is all the information we have about the RBY1 and Rainbow Robotics right now. There's no specific mention of whether it can respond to voice commands. In other words, if you can talk to it like you would with the Figure 01 or the UBTech Walker robots. Next up, we have Menteebot Robotics. This is a company founded in 2022 by experts in AI. All three founders are professors of computer science or AI, so they definitely have the expertise to pull this off. Their robot is called the Menteebot, and they branded it as a personalized AI-based robot you can mentor.
Hey Menti, please go to the table in the kitchen and wait for instructions.
Okay, I will go to the table in the kitchen.
Now, as you can see here, this is yet another robot which can respond to voice commands. It has an LLM in its brain to process these voice commands and give appropriate responses. We're not sure what LLM this is. It could be GPT or an open source model, or perhaps their own proprietary LLM, but we don't know the specific details of this. As you can see right now, it's walking to the kitchen, so it seems to have spatial memory capabilities in its algorithm as well. It understands location and spatial context.
I have arrived. What should I do now?
Please put the fruits in the container and place it on the counter behind you.
Sure thing.
Alright, so now the human prompts it to place the fruits in the container and take it to the counter. This is a very complex multi-step task. First, it needs to place the fruits in the container, and then it must take the container to the counter behind. So there are multiple steps involved here. You can see that with multi-step reasoning, it can break this command down into multiple steps. So first step is to locate the fruits. Next step is to pick up the fruits and then place the fruits in the container, and so on. And as you can see, it has multiple cameras in its head, which act as its eyes. So this definitely has AI vision capabilities built in, so it can autonomously detect and handle objects, such as putting the fruits back into the container. Alright, so after it has placed the fruits in the container, the next step is to lift the container and carry it to the counter behind. So that's what it does next. You can see it doesn't really hold the container steadily when it walks, so imagine if this is a container full of liquid, it's likely going to be spilled everywhere. Plus, its walking speed is a noticeable amount slower than, for example, the Unitree H1 or G1, but nevertheless, this is still a very impressive demonstration, and you don't really see a lot of these complex multi-step demonstrations from a robot. So if this is true, then this is very impressive. I think this is even more impressive than the Figure 1 robot, but it seems like Menteebot and Mentee Robotics are just under the radar. They haven't received as much press as Figure AI. The Menteebot also has very capable hands, which are able to handle a variety of objects with different shapes and sizes, as you can see here. They mentioned that this robot is trained using a simulator to reality, or sim to real, method. This is very similar to NVIDIA's Isaac Sim, where they place robots in a simulated virtual environment. They also call this a digital twin. So this virtual environment has the same laws of physics of the real world, so you can train this robot virtually for millions of iterations, and in theory, once you deploy this to the real world, it should work right away. And as you can see here, it's quite agile, so it can walk in any direction, it can squat, move sideways, turn, and more. And it moves quite fast too. So again, I think the Menteebot is quite impressive and definitely ahead of other competitors in this robot race, but they've just not received much press. They said that this is designed for both household tasks like table setting, cleanup, laundry, and also warehouse automation, such as locating, retrieving, and transporting items up to 25 kilograms. They mentioned that this robot will be production ready by the first quarter of 2025. So we're not that far away. But anyways, that is all we know right now about Mentee Robotics and their Menteebot. Again, I think this is one of the more impressive robots with a lot of cool features, such as multi-step reasoning. Plus, it can walk and move relatively fast compared to other robots, such as the Sanctuary Phoenix, which is just really slow. But anyways, that's all we know about Mentee Robotics and their Menteebot for now. Yet another contender is LimX Dynamics. This is a Chinese company founded in 2022 focused on building general-purpose robots. The founding team has deep expertise in autonomous driving and robotics. Their humanoid robot is called the LimX CL-1. It uses advanced perception algorithms and sensors to perceive its surroundings in real time. This allows it to walk across different terrains easily, as you can see here. So it can walk upstairs and down this slope. In this video, you can see that it runs and walks at quite a fast speed compared to other robots. I would say this is almost as fast as the Unitree H1, which is probably the fastest runner right now. And honestly, not a lot of robots can run right now. This is quite a hard task to program, and so far I've only seen demos of Chinese robots run at this speed. So even the other more well-known robot companies like the Tesla Optimus or the Figure 1 or the Phoenix from Canada, they cannot run like this. So this is very impressive. Here you can see that it's being teleoperated, so a human is behind the scenes cloning the motions of this robot. So, for example, the robot does not seem to be autonomously punching this target, right? A human is actually operating this from the background. However, you can see from these demonstrations that this thing moves fast. It can punch, it can play volleyball, it can play ping pong, and the arms of this robot can just move at very explosive speeds. Now, those are all the demonstrations we have for now. It does not seem to be commercially deployed yet, plus there's no info on whether it can work fully autonomously or whether it has an integrated LLM, which would allow it to understand and reason. So that's all we know about the CL1 from LimX Dynamics for now. And then just a few weeks ago, another robot appears from stealth. This is called Tiangong, and it was developed by the Beijing Humanoid Robot Innovation Center. This is just yet another humanoid robot from China. They're really going all in on building these humanoid robots. So this Tiangong stands at 1.6 meters tall and weighs 43 kilos. They claim that this is the first humanoid robot capable of running only on electric power. Now, again, when you hear these claims of being the first at something, take it with a grain of salt. Now, as I know, the Unitree H1 is already electric and it's capable of kind of running, or at least speed walking, so maybe it can't fully run. So maybe it is true that the Tiangong is the first electric robot to run, but it's a fine line. It can maintain a stable running speed of 6 kilometers per hour, which is really fast. It has state-of-the-art sensors, including multiple perception sensors, 3D vision sensors, and high-precision force sensors for accurate force feedback. As with other robots, it can autonomously walk across different terrains, including stairs and slopes. So far, there are only limited demos of the Tiangong robot, plus they've unveiled it at a live event that you see here. Note that it doesn't really have hands or fingers, so it looks like this is a prototype that hasn't been built out yet. This is very similar to the Unitree H1, which also does not have hands. Interestingly, the Beijing Humanoid Robot Innovation Center, again, this is the organization behind the robot, they've made this open source so that other companies and researchers can develop applications and algorithms for the robot. But that is all we know so far. Again, there's only like 1 or 2 demo videos of this robot. There's not a lot of other information out there on how this was trained or their timeline on when they expect this to be commercially deployed. Now, just a few weeks ago, this mysterious company, who nobody has heard of, also unveiled their humanoid robot called the Astribot S1. And here is their demo video. So first of all, cup stacking. Remember the cup stacking video from the Korean robot, the RBY1? It was way slower than this. The Astribot could stack these cups within 2 seconds, so it's just insanely fast. This is probably like one of the fastest moving robots I've seen so far. Same with this demo of it pulling this tablecloth. Its arms can move at explosive speeds which are necessary to pull this off. Here you can see that it has an LLM integrated into it, so you can send it instructions like, "What do you see?" and it can give you a response. This is just like talking to a chatbot. Here you can see it's able to reason, so the user is asking, how would you separate the items to tidy up the table? And based on the shapes and sizes of these objects, it would determine where to put each item. So here you can see it has AI vision capabilities, much like some of the other robots like the Tesla Optimus and the Figure 1. So it can identify objects and handle them correctly. You can see that it moves really quickly and smoothly, unlike some of the other robots in this video, which are quite slow and clumsy. Another impressive feat that's worth mentioning in this demo is it's able to do Chinese calligraphy. Now, to us humans, writing with a pen or with a brush just seems second nature. It's super easy to do. But for a robot, it's actually quite hard to program it and train its hands and fingers to articulate together to hold a paintbrush and then write characters correctly. So this is actually very impressive that they were able to pull this off. Now, this is the only demo of the Astribot for now, so we're not sure what the lower half of its body looks like. I would assume that it could be stationary or it has a wheeled base like the 1X Eve instead of 2 legs. Now, the company Astribot Intelligence is also quite secretive. We don't really know much about it yet. So on the website, which I've translated to English, you can see that the founder is called Lai Jie. He's employee number 1 at the Tencent Robotics Lab, and also team leader for Baidu's Xiaodu robot. The team's background includes cutting-edge technology companies such as Tencent, Google, UBTech, which is another robotics company that we covered, Baidu, and Huawei. And then Astribot's name comes from the ancient Latin proverb, which means a hard journey to reach the stars. So they are quite a young company. This was established only in December of 2022, and they are headquartered in Shenzhen, which is considered the Silicon Valley of China. So that's all we know about the Astribot for now. Just from this demo, and I know it could be very different from reality once it's deployed, but for now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I was really impressed by the speed of this robot. It's safe to say that this is one of the fastest robots out there so far. Alright, next we have Reflex Robotics. This is a young startup based in New York that's quite under the radar. The founding team has worked at MIT, Boston Dynamics, and Tesla, and now they're building this. So they just released this video and you can see that its movements are super smooth, and this is in 1x speed. Note that it doesn't have 2 legs and it just slides up and down like an elevator. So this is borderline humanoid, but nonetheless, its movements are very smooth and it does autonomously fulfill a lot of tasks. As you can see, it's great at handling objects and sorting these objects, so this is perfect for like logistics and warehouses and retail. Here you can see it was deployed at the Modex event in Atlanta earlier this year. People could request something from the robot, and the robot would grab that item from the shelf and place it on the table all autonomously. So, for all those people stocking inventory at Walmart or wherever, I'd start worrying about your job if I were you, because this robot can do it very smoothly and all autonomously. What's crazy is that this team only has 5 people, so it's an extremely lean startup, but they've managed to build and program this robot. Plus, they say that they're already ready to ship, and the price point is below $50,000. So this thing is even cheaper than the Boston Dynamics 4-legged robot, which is priced at $75,000. So, I can see this thing working at like a 7-Eleven by end of this year. Anyways, that's all we know about Reflex Robotics. It's very impressive that they were able to build this thing with only a team of 5 people. Now, I would say there are limitations with this because, its hands are just claws. It's only good at certain things like stocking and scanning and sorting inventory, but of course you couldn't get it to walk across difficult terrain or jump or run or do some more dexterous tasks like making a sandwich. Alright, next up we have Agility Robotics. This is yet another robotic company focused on building humanoid robots, especially for logistics and warehousing. They were founded in 2015 and are based in Oregon. Their flagship robot is called Digit, and this is designed to work alongside humans in various environments. It stands at 5'9" and has animated LED eyes on its face, and it can carry up to 35 pounds or almost 16 kilos. This is quite light, honestly, compared to some of the other competitor robots, which can carry much heavier loads. Interestingly, it also has a reverse knee like an ostrich. So this is a similar design to the RAISE-A1 robot. Digit can adapt to different warehouse workflows and tasks, so it's great for taking over repetitive tasks from human workers. They've already partnered with Ford to help automate some of their warehousing and delivery operations. Plus, earlier this year, Agility announced that they will begin testing Digit at Amazon's robotics facility near Seattle. Amazon is planning to use Digit for tasks in their warehouse operations. I think their partnership with Amazon will be very valuable since Amazon probably has some of the biggest warehouse and logistics facilities in the world. So this is a ton of training data that Digit can leverage. Digit uses NVIDIA's Jetson as its onboard computing system. This is a high-performance system designed for autonomous robots. Specifically, it can efficiently run complex AI algorithms for perception, navigation, and task execution. Now, Digit uses NVIDIA's Project Groot, which is a multimodal AI model for robots. So Groot is basically the brain behind Digit, much like how OpenAI's LLM is the brain behind the Figure 1 robot. So with Groot, as you can see here, Digit can understand text, speech, and images and learn complex skills using reinforcement learning. So you can see the task is, hey Digit, what's cooking? And then you can see it's breaking its response down into multiple steps through reasoning. Digit is also trained in NVIDIA's Isaac Sim virtual environment, as you can see here. So Digit is the green robots. The robot can undergo millions of rounds of training virtually before being deployed in the real world. And they're doing this because it's way cheaper to train a robot for millions of rounds virtually instead of physically. And then in theory, if the virtual environment correctly simulates the physics of the real world, then when this is deployed in the real world, it should work all fine. So that sums up Agility and their robot Digit. Even though they're partnering with Ford and Amazon, they've only deployed several pre-production robots. In other words, they're not fully finished developing Digit yet, and they haven't commercially deployed it at scale. Alright, next up we have Robot Era. This is yet another Chinese robotics company founded in August of 2023, so this is super recent. So they were incubated by Tsinghua University, and they are focused on developing embodied AI humanoid robots. So far they've developed 2 humanoid robots. One is called the XBot S, which is slightly smaller and has a claw hand. Also note that instead of XBot, sometimes it's called Starbot online. Here you can see that the XBot S can easily walk across difficult terrain, including snow, stairs, and other obstacles. Here you can see that they used 2 different simulated environments to train the robot. The first is NVIDIA's Isaac Sim, which we talked about before, and many other robots such as Agility's Digit was also trained in this environment. But then they also used MuJoCo, which is an open source virtual environment created by Google DeepMind. So it's very similar to NVIDIA's Isaac Sim. This is also a simulation of the real world that's used to train robots. And you can see from all these rounds of training in these 2 virtual environments, the robot is able to walk autonomously in real life across all of these challenging obstacles. So that was the XBot S. They also have an XBot L, which is a full-size humanoid robot with a focus on dexterous object manipulation. So you can see its hand has 5 fingers. In fact, they call this the X hand, which is a highly dexterous robotic hand with 12 active degrees of freedom and built-in tactile sensors. In other words, it has a sense of touch. As you can see from this demo, it moves very smoothly and quickly. And this is all in 1x speed. This is way faster than some of the other robots I've talked about, such as the Sanctuary Phoenix, which is just really slow. So as demonstrated here, it can do a ton of different tasks, including organizing objects, petting your cat. You can see the cat is enjoying it. Cutting leaves, so you can get this to take care of your household plants. It can also pump balloons for your birthday party. And plus here you can see that it can gently handle an egg, which the Tesla Optimus can also do. But not a lot of other robots can pick up such delicate objects without breaking them. It's actually quite a hard task to do because you need to apply just the right amount of force to pick up the egg, but not crack it. So that's all we know about Robot Era and their 2 robots for now. As with most of the other robot companies in this video, there are no signs that this is fully deployed or commercialized yet. So it seems like they are still in the development and testing phase. Next, we have Naver Labs. This is the research and development subsidiary of Naver, which is the leading internet company in South Korea. They have a ton of things going on, such as AI research, robotics, autonomous driving, and augmented reality. Their flagship robot is called Ambidex. It has a haptic device that captures the motions of humans, and then through reinforcement learning, it's able to learn these motions. From this, it can perform many different intricate tasks such as peeling sweet potatoes, assembling furniture, and playing table tennis. And this thing is light. Each arm only weighs 2.6 kilograms, which is lighter than a human arm. Now, there doesn't seem to be any information on whether or not it can respond to voice commands, so I assume it does not have an LLM built in that can understand and reason, unlike some of the other robot contenders. There's also no mention of Ambidex having any form of locomotion, like legs or wheels, so it doesn't seem like it can walk or move around independently. Again, this just puts it behind most of the other robot competitors which can move around autonomously, either on legs or on wheels. Anyways, that's all we know for now about Naver's Ambidex. They seem to still be in the research and development phase, and it's not commercially deployed yet. Alright, next up we have XPeng Robotics. This is a subsidiary of XPeng Motors, which is one of the leading electric vehicle manufacturers in China. They've previously built a 4-legged robot, which they call a robot pony. But I did notice that it's got a tiny horn on the top of its head, so I wonder why they didn't call this a unicorn. But enough about ponies. They also have a humanoid robot called the PX5. So they unveiled the PX5 in 2023 during the company's Tech Day event. As you can see here, it walks super fast. I would say this is as fast as Unitree's robots. And then from this demo, you can see that it can walk across very difficult terrain just fine. It can also walk on gravel, grass, and other terrain with ease, as you can see here. Plus, it can also play soccer and balance on a hoverboard. This is something I haven't seen with any of the other robots, so I'm not sure how hard it is to train, but it seems like you do need a good sense of balance to operate a hoverboard. Plus, as you can see here, it has a very dexterous hand, capable of doing many different tasks, such as picking up an Xbox controller or operating the screwdriver. Here you can see it can pick up this toolbox as well. And then here you can see it's picking up this pen, which is a more challenging object to pick up, but it can handle this just fine. Alright, this box of tissue is an even trickier thing to pick up. A tissue is super thin, but it's able to pick it up just fine. On their website, it says XPeng Robotics introduced a new in-house developed bipedal robot. In the future, XPeng will apply technologies from smart EVs like the XNet deep neural network and XGPT to these smart robots. So it's great that XPeng is an electric vehicle company. Just like how Tesla uses their self-driving software and real-world data to train the Optimus bot, XPeng can also integrate their autonomous driving technology and real-world data into the PX5. Plus, as you can see here, they use their own AI technologies, such as this XNet deep neural network, which I assume is an AI vision model, plus XGPT, which I assume is a language model, so that their robot can understand and reason and carry out tasks effectively. And just a fun fact, they also have an affiliate company that is building flying cars. So here's an example of what that would look like. Super cool. Anyways, that's all we know about XPeng and their PX5 robot for now. This is yet another one of those very impressive, fast-moving robots from China that seems to be able to do a lot of things, from manipulating different objects to walking and running. As with the Unitree H1, I was really impressed by how fast it can move, as you can see here. Alright, next up we have Apptronik, which is a robotics company that was founded in 2015, and they are based in Austin. Their humanoid robot is called Apollo. As you can see on their website, Apollo is 5'8". It weighs 160 pounds, which is roughly 73 kilos, and has a payload capacity of 55 pounds, or roughly 25 kilos. It has a battery life of 4 hours. Now, the Apollo is designed for logistics, manufacturing, and retail tasks like moving boxes and machine tending to address labor shortages in these industries. Apptronik has also worked closely with NASA, adapting technologies from NASA's Valkyrie robot, with plans for Apollo to be potentially used for space exploration. As with Agility's Digit robot, you can see that Apptronik's Apollo also uses NVIDIA's Isaac Sim and Groot system to train and learn new tasks. So here the human is first demonstrating how to operate this juicer, and then after undergoing millions of rounds of training in their Isaac Sim virtual environment, it's deployed back in the real world and it can operate this juicer autonomously. Now, while highly capable, Apollo does not seem to be fully autonomous yet, at least at the time of this recording. So their approach is more of a hybrid autonomy, where Apollo can handle basic tasks autonomously, but still requires human supervision for more complex operations. And finally, on their website, it does say that Apollo is the first commercial humanoid robot that was designed for friendly interaction, mass manufacturability, high payloads, and safety. Again, always take these first claims with a grain of salt. I definitely don't think they were the first to do this, plus they aren't released commercially yet, so I don't know why they can claim this on their homepage. But anyways, they have announced that they're targeting the end of 2024 for full commercial release and deployment of Apollo. Alright, next up we have Magic Labs. This is yet another kind of secretive company that's under the radar. They haven't really gotten much press, and their humanoid robot is called the Magicbot. This is a full-size humanoid robot with impressive dexterity and agility. It features custom-designed, high-torque actuators and pressure sensors that enable a very dexterous hand. They claim that the hand can mimic around 70% of all human hand gestures and precisely handle objects. And as you can see here, it can fold clothes quite efficiently. This is much faster and more fluid, I guess, compared with the Tesla Optimus bot, which kind of takes a long time to fold a single shirt. So they showcased the Magicbot doing all sorts of things like roasting marshmallows, as you can see here, to watering plants with care. Now, I'm not sure if this demonstration is just via teleoperation, in other words, if there's a human in the background operating this remotely, or if this is all autonomous. Here's another demonstration of the Magicbot. This time, it's making a latte for a human. However, this is not like a full, uncut, unedited demonstration, so you can see it's kind of cutting from scene to scene, so we're not sure if it can fully and autonomously operate the coffee machine. Now, there's no mention of how they trained the Magicbot, nor did they mention anything about it having an LLM, so I'm not sure if it has any natural language model built into its brain. In other words, if it can understand commands and reason and carry out appropriate tasks. But anyways, that's all we know about Magic Labs and their humanoid robot, the Magicbot. They've only unveiled the Magicbot a few months ago, so it's still very early for them, and I would assume they haven't deployed this commercially yet. Alright, next up we have Xiaomi. Now, Xiaomi was founded in 2010 and headquartered in Beijing. As we all know, Xiaomi is one of the largest smartphone manufacturers globally. Plus, they manufacture a wide range of other products such as laptops, smart TVs, fitness bands, and other smart home products. However, they also have a full-size humanoid robot called the CyberOne. Now, the CyberOne stands at 177 centimeters and weighs 52 kilos. It has an arm span of roughly 168 centimeters. Plus, it has a 2.5-hour battery life. Using AI vision, it can detect human faces and gestures and emotion. Plus, it claims that it can recognize 85 types of environmental sounds and 45 types of human emotion. Using built-in algorithms and depth cameras, it can create 3D virtual reconstructions of its environment, which can help it navigate and understand its surroundings. They claim that it can walk at 3.6 kilometers per hour and run at 7.2 kilometers per hour, but we haven't really seen any demos of this. You can see from this event that it can understand and respond to speech.
铁大，铁大，你过来吧。
好的，我来了。
要不给大家打个招呼？
大家好啊，我是 CyberOne， 小名叫铁大。
哇，你的花很漂亮啊。
雷总你好，你比我想象中的高，这朵花送给你。
谢谢，他情商还挺高的。铁大，你还会什么动作啊？
我刚刚学会走路，下盘还不太稳，正在练习扎马步。
大家来看看这个扎马步，是不是很稳很标准？
So it definitely has an LLM built into its head. If I were to guess, they're probably leveraging Baidu's LLM called ErnieBot. And you can see that its responses are really fast, unlike the Figure 1, which often has a few seconds of delay between when the human says something to when it responds. This Xiaomi CyberOne robot can respond almost in real time. Plus, it can do Kung Fu, or at least do a stance. Here's another demo video of it drumming. Now, Xiaomi says that this CyberOne robot is not intended for any specific commercial application, but rather it's just used for research and development. Next, we have Westwood Robotics, and they are based in the greater Boston area. Their robot is called Themis. it integrates powerful actuators and advanced sensing capabilities. As you can see here, they claim that it can walk steadily at human speed and reach a top running speed of 10 kilometers per hour, which is really impressive, but I haven't seen any video demo of it running yet. It uses an inertial sensor for precise orientation. Here's a demo of it taking out the trash, and note that it doesn't have hands and fingers. So the end of its arms are stubbed, much like the Unitree H1. But I hate taking out the trash, so if this is affordable, I wouldn't mind actually buying this just so I don't have to take out the trash. So you can see here, its hands are actually tied to the handle of this garbage bin. So it doesn't have fingers, it doesn't even have claws to grip the handle. And then here's another demonstration of it delivering a parcel to a home. Now, just looking at this demo, it definitely does not walk at human speeds. This seems to walk way slower. So this is definitely a tad bit behind compared to the other robots, especially the ones from China, which can walk and run really quickly. So other than that, there's not much info on this Themis humanoid robot. It does seem they are still in the testing and development phase, and just based on the demo videos and the information out there, it doesn't seem like it has any LLM built in, so I assume it cannot understand verbal commands. Also, due to the lack of hands and fingers, there are a lot of dexterous things that it cannot do. So I would say this is a tad bit behind most of the other robots that I'm going to mention in this video. Next up, we have Neura Robotics. This is a German high-tech robotics company founded in 2019. Their flagship products include the Myra line of collaborative robot arms, as well as a series of smaller robot arms called Lyra. However, besides these robotic arms, they also have a humanoid robot called the Fourier. It's integrated with advanced algorithms to enable versatile movements like walking, turning, bending, navigating stairs, and balancing objects. It has an interactive screen on its head for displaying information and facilitating human interaction. This is quite similar to the Figure 1 robot, which also has a screen on its face, which can display data. Now, they've coined this robot a cognitive humanoid robot, which I think it's just a marketing stunt. Cognitive just means like intelligent, right? So, if you slap any machine learning algorithm or an LLM in a robot, then technically all the robots that I talked about today are cognitive to some extent. Same with here, they always use the word cognitive, so here it says, based on our proven cognitive technology. Again, this is just marketing to me. This cognitive word doesn't really mean anything significant. So it says here it has 3D vision capabilities like many of the other robots, so it can handle and manipulate different objects of different sizes and shapes. It has what they coined to be a Neura AI API, which is, I assume, a fancy way of saying an LLM, which is multimodal, so it can take in text, sound, and images via their 3D vision capabilities in order to do the appropriate task. It has advanced sensors providing full torque feedback in all joints for precise balance and force control when moving objects. They also have a patented quote-unquote safe human detection technology, which can use AI to detect humans and dynamic obstacles, even with obstructed vision. And then from its speech recognition capabilities, they claim that it can recognize different human voices, languages, tones, and emotions for natural interaction. However, the demo videos of the Fourier are very limited. The videos that I'm playing right now, that's all the information we have right now. So I'm not sure if the robot can actually deliver on all the capabilities that they mention. It would be nice to see like a live demo of a robot in action, like the Figure 1, where someone is talking to it and it can understand the speech and reason and carry out the appropriate action, but we don't have any demos of this yet. So that's all we know about the Neura Fourier. This is still in the very early stages of development. Alright, next up we have Kepler. This is yet another robot company headquartered in China, and they have developed an advanced series of humanoid robots called the Forerunner. They feature a highly bionic humanoid structure with up to 40 degrees of freedom for human-like motion and dexterity. Equipped with Kepler's proprietary actuators, this enables dynamic limb movements, simulating human muscle control. It has intelligent, dexterous hands with 12 degrees of freedom for accurate object manipulation and load balancing. It has advanced sensors and what they coin to be their Nebula AI system for visual recognition, multimodal interaction, and hand-eye coordination. So this Nebula AI system is likely a fancy way of saying that they have this multimodal AI system with AI vision capabilities for object detection, but also speech recognition so it can handle voice commands. It integrates cloud-based large language models as well as onboard models for faster response times. Now, the Forerunner series is designed to be a general-purpose robot for a variety of scenarios, like manufacturing, logistics, research, rescue operations, and even space exploration. Here you can see a demo of it accurately throwing a ball into this cup. Now, I'm not sure how many takes it took, or if it's trained so well that it can precisely throw the ball in the cup every time. Kepler aims to start mass production of the Forerunner in the second half of 2024. So we're potentially like months away from seeing this commercially deployed in the real world. And their projected pricing of the Kepler Forerunner is only around $20,000 to $30,000, making them relatively affordable compared to other robots. Again, even the Boston Dynamics Spot costs $75,000. So this humanoid robot is less than half the price of the Boston Dynamics Spot. Finally, Kepler has also launched a developer platform called the Kepler OS to foster an ecosystem around the Forerunner robots. So that's all we know about Kepler Robotics and their Forerunner series of robots for now. As with many of the companies in this video, they are still in production. They have announced a very ambitious target of mass production by end of year, but we're not there yet. So only time will tell if they can meet this deadline and actually get this robot out there within this year. And finally, we have PAL Robotics. This is a company based in Barcelona, Spain, that has developed Talos, which is an advanced humanoid robot designed for research and industrial applications. Now, the Talos is actually quite old. I believe they made this 6 years ago, and of course, back then, we didn't even have like this transformer and LLM technology. So the initial version of Talos is probably very unintelligent compared to what they have now. However, they have started uploading more demo videos on YouTube this year. So it seems like they are still developing this, and I would assume they're integrating new AI technologies into the Talos robot. Now, this is a full-sized humanoid robot standing at around 1.75 meters, or 5'9", and weighing 95 kilos. It has 37 degrees of freedom, so a bit less than some of the other robots, but it is fully torque controllable with torque sensors in most joints. As you can see here, it can walk up stairs and steps and difficult terrain just fine. But it is a tad bit slower than some of the other robots I've showed in this video. Plus, it seems to be a bit more bulky. I'm not sure if this is just the outer shell, but I mean, most of the other robots in this video, like the Tesla Optimus or Unitree's robots or 1XE, they're very slim and their design is more streamlined, whereas this one just seems a bit more bulkier. They claim that it can dynamically walk at speeds of up to 3 kilometers per hour, and then each arm has a payload capacity of 6 kilograms, or roughly 13 pounds, when it is fully extended. Now again, this is a relatively old robot. I've included it in this video because it is in a sense a humanoid robot, so the shape and kind of the movements do resemble a human to some degree, but they did not mention whether it's fully autonomous or whether it has an LLM, so it can understand or reason, or even whether it has AI vision capabilities so that it can autonomously detect and handle objects. For example, in this demo, I'm not sure if it's teleoperated by a human behind the scenes or if it can like lift and handle these bottles all autonomously via AI vision. So we'll have to wait and see here. As with a lot of these other robot companies, the PAL Talos is still in the development phase. So that sums up all the companies in this humanoid robot race. You can see it's very competitive, and at least right now, it's quite an even playing field. No one company is significantly ahead of all the other companies. Most robots can autonomously walk across different and difficult terrain, they can balance properly, and most robots have AI vision and multimodal capabilities, so it can understand voice commands, for example, and reason and manipulate objects of different sizes and shapes all autonomously. And then some robots even have spatial sensing technology, which enables it to perceive its environment and navigate appropriately. Again, it's not just one single company who's ahead of all the other companies. There's a lot of competitors essentially working towards the same thing. And most of these robots have not been commercially deployed yet. But a lot of these companies are claiming quite ambitious timelines of potentially deploying these robots at mass scale by end of this year or early next year. So it's a really competitive landscape, and it would be super interesting to see how this all plays out. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. Do you think we'll have a monopoly or a small group of companies that eventually just dominate this humanoid robot industry, similar to how the tech industry is controlled by just a few tech giants? Or do you envision many robot companies each securing their own slice of the market? And how soon do you think we can start seeing these robots at mass scale? And in which industries would you expect these to start being deployed in? I would assume that a logical place to start would be manufacturing, warehousing, and logistics, but what about retail or healthcare or agriculture or even military and defense? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.